Welcome back to the channel. In today's recap, we're diving into the goat life. The movie opens with two brothers, Najib and Hakim, arriving at the airport in Saudi Arabia, full of hope for the future. They've traveled far from home in search of work and prosperity, just like so many others before them. But something feels off from the very beginning. After a long wait, the agent who was supposed to meet them never shows up. Worried, they ask some people at the airport for help, and an official tries to call the agent on their behalf. But here's the catch. The phone is switched off. As panic starts to creep in, a man, known as Kafil, finally appears and checks their documents. Relieved that someone has come, Najib and Hakim follow him into a broken-down car. But as they drive off, the brothers start to sense that something isn't quite right. Their suspicions grow when, after a long and silent drive, another man in a car approaches Kafil, asking if he's taking the brothers to the market. Kafil's cryptic response, "No, they're sick. I'm taking them to the hospital," sets a dark tone for what's to come. Najib and Hakim fall asleep during the journey, only to wake up in the middle of the night, stranded in a desert. At this point, the brothers are in a vulnerable situation, and it gets worse. Kafil hands Hakim over to another man, leaving Najib behind. As Najib protests, explaining that they came to Saudi Arabia for work in the city, and that there must be some mistake, his words fall on deaf ears. Kafil's true intentions come to light as he forces Najib into another car. It's clear now, they've been deceived. Najib is taken to a remote place, where he encounters an old man. This mysterious figure, who seems to have been a captive for a long time, understands Najib's plight. The old man gives Najib water and reveals a dark truth. He, too, was once brought here under false pretenses. As the days pass, Najib realizes that his life as a worker in the city is nothing more than a distant dream. He is now trapped in the middle of nowhere, forced into labor. The old man helps Najib survive in these harsh conditions. But there's a sense of doom hovering over the situation. Najib is slowly beginning to realize the gravity of his situation. He may never leave this place. Throughout the movie, we see glimpses of Najib's life back home. He comes from a humble background, working with his hands to make a living. His motivation for coming to Saudi Arabia stemmed from stories about others who made good money working there. One of his friends even told him that his brother-in-law earned a fortune working in Saudi Arabia, which planted the idea in Najib's head. Back in his village, Najib mortgaged his house to pay for the journey, believing that he was securing a better future for his family. His wife and mother were both hopeful, especially because two of his wife's brothers were also working in Saudi Arabia. But now, stuck in this barren desert, those dreams seem farther away than ever. Life in captivity is brutal. Najib is forced to work, caring for goats and performing labor that he wasn't prepared for. His captor, whom we'll call Kafil too, shows no mercy. Najib, desperate for any kind of relief, tries to plead with Kafil, asking him to let him go, or at least explain why they're being treated this way. But Kafil only responds with violence, hitting Najib with a belt in a harrowing scene. The harsh desert, combined with the lack of proper food and water, begins to take its toll. The bread Najib is given to eat is so tough that he has to dip it in water just to get it down. Days turn into weeks, and Najib slowly loses hope. He tries to milk the goats but struggles with even the simplest of tasks. One day, Najib stumbles across his reflection in a car mirror, and he's shocked by what he sees. His hair and beard have grown long, his face is gaunt, and he barely recognizes the man staring back at him. The transformation is a powerful reminder of how much time has passed and how much he has suffered. Despite everything, Najib tries to hold on. But soon, the weight of his situation becomes too much to bear. He considers ending it all, but is stopped when he stumbles upon a grave, the resting place of the old man who had helped him. The implication is grim. Whether the old man died by suicide or was killed by Kafil, the message is clear. Escape is nearly impossible. At this point, Najib starts to hatch an escape plan of his own. He's determined not to meet the same fate as the old man. One morning, while tending to the goats, he sees an opportunity. The road ahead is clear, and Najib starts running, hoping to reach safety. But Kafil catches him, brutally punishing him by breaking his legs. Najib's hope is shattered yet again, as he's tied to a camel and left to reflect on his failed escape. Time passes, and Najib becomes a shell of his former self. His body is weak, and his mind is worn down. One day, during a hailstorm, he takes shelter in a cave and hears a voice. Hakim. Against all odds, the brothers are reunited. They are overjoyed to see each other, but the joy is short-lived. Hakim, who has been suffering just as much, suggests that they escape together. However, Najib is reluctant, given his past failed attempt. Still, the reunion gives them both a brief glimmer of hope, and they begin to plot their next move. The movie leaves us on the edge of our seats as Najib and Hakim, along with their new ally, Ibrahim, plan a final desperate escape attempt. The risks are higher than ever, and the tension builds as they wait for the right moment to flee. Will they succeed, or will they meet the same fate as those who came before them? That's where we'll leave you today. With the reunion of Najib and Hakim, hope is once again sparked, but this hope is fragile. They meet a man named Ibrahim, who knows the desert routes well, having lived in this harsh environment for years. Together, they start devising a plan to escape, using Ibrahim's knowledge of the land to their advantage. The timing for their escape seems perfect. The Kills, their captors, are preparing for a grand ceremony for one of their daughter's weddings. With the Kills distracted by the event, Najib, Hakim, and Ibrahim see their opportunity to slip away unnoticed. It's a dangerous plan, but they are determined to break free from their captors and regain their freedom. As the day of the wedding approaches, the tension builds. Will their plan work, or will they be caught before they can make it to safety? The escape begins on the day of the wedding. With the Kills away, Najib, Hakim, and Ibrahim set off into the vast desert. It's a journey fraught with danger. As they trek across the harsh landscape, they are met with countless challenges: limited water, scorching heat, and the constant fear of being caught. At one point during their journey, they encounter a terrifying moment when a desert viper, one of the most venomous snakes in the world, slithers out of the sand. Najib freezes in fear as the snake approaches, but Ibrahim instructs him to stay completely still. Somehow, Najib manages to stay calm, and after what feels like an eternity, the snake moves on, leaving them unharmed. But the desert has more challenges in store for them. Hakim, exhausted and dehydrated, starts hallucinating. He sees water where there is none and begins eating sand, mistaking it for food. Despite Najib and Ibrahim's efforts to help him, Hakim's condition worsens. He vomits blood and tragically dies in the desert, leaving Najib devastated. It's a heartbreaking moment for Najib, who has already endured so much. He has no choice but to continue moving forward, even as the weight of his brother's death weighs heavily on his shoulders. With the desert wind picking up and a sandstorm on the horizon, Najib is forced to leave Hakim's body behind, buried by the sands. With Hakim gone, it's just Najib and Ibrahim now, pushing through the desert. They stumble upon a small water source, a rare and precious find in the arid landscape. But they must be cautious. Ibrahim tests the water to ensure it's safe before they both drink, wary of the possibility of poison or contamination. For a moment, it seems like their luck has turned. They quench their thirst and rest for a while, but they know they can't stay long. As they continue their journey, Ibrahim uses an empty glass bottle to create a whistle, attracting birds that guide them in the direction of civilization. However, just when things seem to be looking up, Najib wakes up one morning to find that Ibrahim has disappeared. He left behind some water and a date for Najib, but the message is clear. Najib must now continue on his own. Finally, after what feels like an endless trek through the unforgiving desert, Najib sees a road in the distance. His heart races with excitement and relief. This is his chance to find help and, hopefully, make it back to civilization. Using the last of his strength, he runs toward the road, hoping to flag down a passing vehicle. For what seems like an eternity, no one stops. But then, just when he's about to lose hope, a luxury car, a Rolls-Royce, pulls over. The driver gives Najib water and takes him to the city, where he is finally safe. Najib is overwhelmed with gratitude, but his journey isn't over yet. Once in the city, he meets someone from his village who helps him get cleaned up, provides him with food, and ensures he receives medical treatment for his weakened condition. The man also helps Najib contact his family, offering a brief moment of relief and hope that Najib's ordeal might finally be coming to an end. As the movie approaches its conclusion, Najib is seen at the police station, trying to arrange his return home. Without proper papers, the process is complicated, but it seems like he will finally be able to go back to his family. However, in a final twist, a group of Kills shows up at the police station. They are looking for their runaway workers, and Najib's heart sinks as he realizes they might try to take him back. But, in a surprising turn of events, the Kafil who once held Najib captive recognizes him but chooses not to take him back. With that, Najib is free, but his journey has left deep scars, both physically and emotionally.